Just your thoughts on that and what it's been like to work with him.
Well, it's an honor to coach all those guys. And Steph is a pro who approaches this game with a competitive spirit and a vigor that, it's contagious. And so I just hope I can be of service to those guys and help them become the players they want to be.
On the final catch of the game, Kayshon Boutte, I think you go about 15, 20 yards to get to him, and it's not the first time we've seen you kind of animated on the sideline. What do those moments mean to you, and why is it important to you to be there, celebrating with the players?
Sure, it wasn't like 50. I felt like it was this business can create a lot of highs and lows for a coach, and I certainly have had, some times that haven't been as fun and easy, and so. You'll have to forgive me if sometimes my joy and appreciation for what I get to do and to see a guy like Kayshon who's worked so hard and put in so much work to have a moment like that in his home state, I couldn't help myself.
We've obviously seen the production on the field from Kayshon this year, but how have you seen him grow off the field?
I think just his approach becoming a pro, and I know that word gets thrown around a lot, like, we got to be more of a pro. He truly is becoming a professional football player where he approaches it like he's got to be intentional with his time and how he distributes his resources. And I think that he's seeing the benefits of things like taking care of his body, getting the extra treatment, the recovery, picking some of the veterans' brains, having more conversations with Drake, it's been impressive to watch, and I think that it's showing up. And sometimes it takes a little patience for things to pop through from a production standpoint, but it doesn't mean that the approach hasn't been right.
What is the message to the rookies? You've seen the guys, the veterans come through, but the rising rookies like Kyle and Efton, what are you saying to them on a weekly basis?
Yeah, I've had a couple of conversations with them that those vets have been great examples to them. Pop Douglas went through a little stretch where he didn't have a lot of production, and then save it a ticky-tack penalty, he would have had a 130-yard game with 2 touchdowns. Kayshon Boutte had a couple of games where the production wasn't there, but he kept at it, and it paid off. And so for those young guys, I say the same thing. Keep working at your craft. Keep believing that every time you're running a route, the ball's going to be in the air when you turn your eyes around. And I think both those guys have embraced that, and I think that it's been fun to watch them kind of gravitate towards different vets of their own liking. But it's it's a good group, and I'm fortunate to be working with those young guys too.
What will your emotions be like walking into Nissan Stadium Sunday?
I'm a couple of years removed from being there, so it's another opportunity for me to walk into a stadium with a group of receivers I'm really proud to be working with.
What are you seeing from Kayshon in terms of physicality, making those contested catches?
Yeah, he has great play strength, and we saw that in training camp and even in OTAs before we got pads on. You see him playing sturdy through contact and being able to track the ball while he's got a defender in close proximity. So I think he's done a nice job of that for a while, and being able to catch the ball away from his body and make sure that he's not giving DBs a chance to punch through the pocket, quick to the tuck, things like that. He's been growing in that, and he's been doing a nice job.
Josh talked this morning about in the receiver room, it's a lot of guys that are, coming in early, maybe looking for extra work, extra cut-ups, things like that. How quickly do you feel like that tone set in, and what went into setting that tone in the room, or was it just a more natural, guys came in and that's how they were from day one?
I think it kind of was, hey, I'm going to make resources available to you guys, and I'm available to you guys, and then I kind of leave it in their court to either take advantage or not, and they have. Efton Chisholm's in here at 6 a.m. every single morning. And I'm sitting there with a cup of coffee waiting on him. If he's not there at 6, I'm worried about him, But, guys, every one of them. I mean, every guy comes in my office before meetings, stops in, gets a couple nuggets about the game plan. They all work very, very hard. And the key is going to be staying hungry, staying committed to the process when it, gets later in the season and guys are feeling sore or they're feeling more tired and weather changes and all that. Can they stay consistent? Can they stay hungry? And I believe they will, and I'll be here to serve them.
How nice was it to see Pop get going, get a couple explosive plays?
Yeah, another moment that brought me joy. I was running on that one on the sideline too. That's a play that we practiced with Pop, hoping that we'd get the look. We got the look, and he ran it perfectly. And he's had some routes that he's done a really nice job and been open on. The ball just went somewhere else, and this is one that it went to him. And he deserves the production for the work he's been putting in.
Were you sore Monday After all the running you did?
Yeah, I got some good stretching in. I got a nice walking pregame to get loosened up a little bit. But yeah, I was a little bit sore, I'll be honest with you.
Todd, you've mentioned how that group has been really good at being patient and waiting their turns in different guys. You've been around a lot of different teams with different groups. Is that rare, especially at that position?
You know, there is something special about it. I'll say that. You know, I've certainly been a part of some rooms that guys were a little bit more interested in looking out for number one first, and then if they were okay celebrating everybody else. This group is not that way. One of my favorite plays of the game, the pass interference that we threw the go ball to Kyle Williams. If you watch that sideline tape, I wasn't running on that one, but Kayshawn Booty was. And Kayshawn could have been mad that he wasn't in there for the go ball or didn't have a chance to run a deep route, but he was running down the sideline celebrating for Kyle, thinking that he was going to go score a touchdown. That's the kind of culture that I'm proud of in the room, is that they are truly cheering each other on. And I think that if you start with gratitude and you start with celebrating each other, it's really hard for that third emotion of selfishness to come in, you know, and that's a pretty cool thing. And hopefully we can continue that as we get going into the dog days of the season here.
Great.
Thanks, guys.
UMass Minutemen, UMass. How you guys doing this year? They're never good.
Oh,
My brother went there. Worst football? One of the worst. Who you going here? What's it? Emerson volleyball, baby. Got it. UMass just lost like 40-3 to Kent State. Oh, that's a golden place. That's where they're at right now.
Yeah, Mike Riddle was talking a little bit this week about how you and Josh have different, I guess you said, purposes.
Okay.
With Drake.
Yeah.
So what would you say like your role is in the development of Drake?
Me and Mike had different.
No, you and Josh McDaniel. Sorry.
Oh,
So how would you describe your purpose or role?
yeah, I think me and Josh do a good job working together. You know, kind of setting a plan for what the plan is with the quarterback and how he fits into the offense. I think Josh does a good job with the global picture and the big picture of how the offense should come together, and then me and him do a good job talking and how he sees a quarterback playing into that. And I just try to take Josh's lead and explain to the quarterback how Josh envisions the play coming to life.
Have you seen increased comfort from Drake May? It seems like the past 2 weeks he's really been kind of letting it fly down.
Yeah, I think like we said back in spring and training camp, like the more reps you get in the system, the more turns you get at the plate, so to speak. The more comfortable you are doing something. So I just think as the weeks go on, he's getting a little bit more comfortable when you have an offense that has consistent rules, so it's not necessarily changing on him every single week. I think that just gives him confidence to go out there and do his job.
Has he advanced or excelled any quicker than perhaps you had put on the calendar?
I wouldn't say that. I think we set lofty goals for him as a quarterback when we got here in the offseason. I think he jumped at the bit to do that. I think, we try to shoot for the moon and land on the stars, so to speak. So we try to set those goals high for him. And he's a hungry kid. He didn't want to, have a governor on him. So we try to give him the whole boatload and see if he can reach those things.
Is he at the moon or at the stars?
I think we're working every day to keep getting better. Mm-hmm. I think we'll measure how, this season was. At the end of the season, I don't want to, take it a week at a time. We're only in week 7, but like how he's progressing so far.
We see you guys do a lot of ball security drills to start practice in the pocket. How have you seen that with Drake translate to games?
A lot. I think the first big one where it was the aha moment was down in Miami when we hit the big one to Ramondre where he stepped up in the pocket. But I think it shows up multiple times every single week, and we point it out every time to let him know that hey, we're doing these drills for a reason, and it's cool to see them come to life on Sunday.
Was that an area when you first got here, you wanted to get better with him though?
Yeah, I think that was one of the things, as a staff we talked about, just kind of tweaking and improving a little bit with just his ball security, his pocket maneuvering. And I think he's done a good job owning that and, taking practice to the game field.
What are some things? Oh, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
What are some things that he brings naturally when it comes to his pocket presence?
I just think he has a great feel. I think about the one clip that he kind of hit the floater to Travion, and he felt, I think it was Cam Jordan climbing around his back up in the pocket, and he stepped up with 2 hands, he ripped it forward, and instead of bringing it back into his throw motion, he flipped it out of there. And somebody asked me, as a quarterback coach, does that make you cringe a little bit? And if he were to stay in his throwing base and just flip his hips and throw it, I don't think anyone would have, been afraid that he got the ball to the check down. It's just how he got it to the check down. Everyone was kind of like, oh my goodness. But I think that just goes to show his feel in the pocket. He has a good sense of what's going on around him. So that was pretty neat.
Seems like a lot of the downfield throws he's made, he is moving around and able to keep his eyes downfield.
Yeah.
Is that an area that you've seen him improve in as well?
I think so. I think, there's two plays that defenses have to defend. It's the structured play that, us as coaches try to design. And then if that play doesn't end up working itself out, it's the play when things break down the out of structure plays. I think that's one of Drake's strong suit is just keeping his eyes downfield, keeping the play alive. And I think he's done a better job of that, just keeping his eyes downfield to try to get those explosives.
He wasn't in the pocket when he was headed toward out of bounds, was about to be tackled, flipped to his left hand, and chucked it out of bounds. Where do you see that, or what does that? What category does that one fall under?
That goes in the category of Drake making a good situational play and understanding the rules. Once you leave the pocket, as long as the ball gets back to the line of scrimmage, you won't get called for intentional grounding. And we try to avoid as many sacks as we can. So if nothing's open and we can get out and get the ball out of our hands safely into a safe area.
No matter which hand.
No matter which hand. I think he's done that before. I've seen that on his college
he did
tape. I saw that on his tape
he
last
did it
year.
last year.
Yeah, so I just think it's a smart play in terms of making sure the offense doesn't go backwards because we know the value of a negative play, and that's something that we preach to him a lot. Just making sure that worst case scenario, the D&D is the same it was, or the distance was the same it was a previous play.
You mentioned,
Okay.
You mentioned consistency in the offense. It seems like you guys aren't afraid to call some of the same plays within a game. What's your philosophy when it comes to that, and how valuable is that for the quarterback to be able to work the same concepts and plays within a game?
I just think it's pretty neat because if you think of the probabilities of us calling the same play and the defense calling the same exact defense, the chances are pretty, low. So it's for a quarterback. One time you're running a play, it might be versus this coverage. The next time is versus another coverage. So one play, this guy gets the ball. The next time, someone else gets the ball. So it's been pretty cool because we try to dress it up different ways so it looks different to the defense, but it's the same for the quarterback. So again, more swings at the plate of doing the same thing over and over again.
You talked a little bit about the ball security drills of him being in the pocket and like fumble. But how has he improved in avoiding interceptions over the last few weeks?
I just think it's the work that he puts in throughout the week, just what the coverages the defenses are playing and what to expect. He does a great job. I really think he's in there right now with the entire offense watching practice as we are watching it as a coaching staff and getting everybody else on the same page. So I think he does a good job studying and getting guys on the same page and then confirming what he sees post-snap. I think he does a good job with that.
You worked with one of the best in the league, Kevin Stefanski, when it comes to play sequencing and setting things up.
Yeah.
How does Josh McDaniels maybe set himself apart in that area and set defenses up for certain things?
I think Josh is a very bright offensive coordinator. I think he takes almost everything into account when he calls plays, not only the quarterback, but the offensive line, the receivers. How can he switch up the launch point for those guys so, the defenders can't tee off on the pass rush? And I just think he's thinking about a ton of different things that sometimes go over the coaches' heads. It's pretty interesting seeing his call sheet once the game is over and all the different sequencing that he thought about going to. But a stone doesn't go unturned with that guy. He's thought about a lot of different scenarios, and I'm learning a ton from him just being around him.
Guys, 2 more questions?
I like that.
Good.
Awesome. Yeah,
Thank
cool.
you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Playing against, and so he is progressing well. He's moving right along. He's sometimes I when I talk to Josh and just ask about the guys that are here in the past, and sounds like from Josh that he's very much on par with what kind of some of the other guys that played early as rookies. He feels like he's in that same world where they were at this point in their rookie seasons. So he's continuing to get better. So we'll keep working him, and he'll keep progressing, and we'll keep rolling.
I'm sorry if you've been asked this. I was going to kind of piggyback off that, and one of the things that a lot of people kind of come up with is the James White comparison. It's a lot to put on him, but James White, I think, only played 2 or 3 games his rookie year. And I'm not saying that Trevion is going to follow that same mark, but there are guys here in New England, specifically running backs. Shane Green is another one, where it was like, it takes some time. It's just, they look good in the summer, as you mentioned, but it just takes some time for them to get there.
Right. I'm not going to make any comparisons because it's unfair to the kids, and obviously I didn't coach those other guys, and they were really good players here for a long time. So I don't want to put that expectation on anybody. But I had an opportunity to, throughout these 7 or 8 years of mine to coach some rookies, and he has progressed as well or better than any of the other rookies I've coached throughout. It's a long season, a lot of things happening, and it's important to him. He works at it, and he is progressing. He is getting better, and it'll come. Like we all want the explosive plays, the big plays, and you don't chase them. You let them come to you. And I think when people start chasing those things, you start getting out of character, and then you start doing things outside of the offense, and then it causes problems. So I think he's taking a stride. He's playing within the offense. He's doing what we ask him to do. And as long as he does that, in my opinion, the other stuff will come as we continue to play. I mean, we're 6 weeks in. We still got a lot of football left to play. So I'm excited to see how it continues to progress and what it looks like at the end of the season.
It's awesome. Thank you, Tom.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah.
We ready for Connecticut this week?
I'll be there. They're in
All right.
trouble.
Yeah.
How are you?
I guess I'll start with a somewhat easy one. Just how do you think Will has come along here? I think he's only given up like 1 sack since week 1, so I just want to get your impression of how
I keep going back to pretty much my standard thing.
Yeah.
Like, I think each week, especially for a young player, there's different challenges. There's so many different types of players and a lot of good players that he's going against. So, we just try to get a good plan for him every week. Talk about the details, the techniques and the fundamentals, and keep working it, and just trying to take, attack each day, and keep going forward. You look at a game or you look at a practice and you say, hey, this is what we can do better. And the next day you work on those things. And I think that's just the normal process as you go through it. Yeah. But, it's been, he's been good. I mean, he's locked into that.
Yeah, and I was asking Josh earlier about all the different pass protection calls that you guys seem to have on a given week. How good is Josh at building in different change-ups into your pass protection so it's not the same thing every time?
I think he's outstanding. I mean, he's done it, for a long period of time. I think that, I know for, an offensive line or an offensive line coach, someone that really understands the issues that are out there. I think that Josh has been one of the best I've ever been around as far as being able to do that stuff. So, believe me, I've been in some situations where it's not like that, and it is hard. And to have someone that understands that is great.
Yeah, because it just seems like watching other tape around the league, they'll drop back pass like 40 times and just leave the offensive line out there to just kind of
I can't speak for
I know, but I'm just saying, it seems like he does a really nice job of
I think he does a great job. I really do.
Yeah.
I really do. And we've got to continue to keep getting better and better.
Yeah.
Just in terms of communication with Drake May and the offensive line, how do you think that's been going just sort of overall?
I think it's something that we started from the beginning. I think that obviously, when you play the center position, with Garrett, playing the center, and Drake, I think that communication is where it starts, and then it gets, communicated throughout the line. I think that, it's something that's been working well, and it's something that, we continue to put an emphasis on, because, it's very easy to communicate, in the classroom or, in the field, and then you get into some of these environments and they're, hostile environments, and that communication becomes very key, to having any type of success.
Speaking of that, 3 straight road games, how much do you guys work on the silent cadence and all that, or is that sort of overplayed a little bit? And
I mean, it's like I said before. I think I got this question asked the other time. I think, it's not something that you just all of a sudden start working on when you go in there. We started working on it back when we first got together. And, and I think it's important because it's really, especially on a silence, it's the group that's in there, the timing that they have, how they feel comfortable with it, all the different types of silent, that you may have in a game plan. And something that we worked on. I think, something that I feel like we've gotten a little bit better at, and we can continue to get better as we go along. So we never want to take it for granted. So it's something that, we do a lot, and, Coach Rabel, does a good job. We get a good dose of it in a hostile situation, however we create that.
So when you look at the run game tape, just what are you seeing with it, and how close do you feel like you guys are?
Well, I think that, obviously we know we have to get better. I think when that happens, and I think there's a lot of things involved, myself personally, I look at, hey, what can I do a better job of? Hey, can I detail this up? Can I, get maybe work a little bit more on the proper technique for it, and the fundamentals that we need to use. So, I take a good look at myself first when things aren't going well in any part of what we're trying to do. And I say, hey, listen, how can I contribute to that? And that's what we've been focusing on. Saying obviously there's a lot of different things in a game that you have to do. The run game is a big part of it, and it's something that, I know I can do a better job of that.
Doug, I asked Josh earlier today about your use of motion, which has been super effective when you choose to use it. And I know there are certain things you're looking for when it's used, which isn't all the time. What's your role been in the game planning process when you're deciding when to use motion in a given week?
Well, I think we're all involved. I think that's the process. I think we have a lot of good coaches on our side of the ball. I think that Josh does a great job of taking ideas and, seeing how it all fits together. And he's the one, basically at the end of the day that puts it all together for us. So I think, we have a lot of good ideas, a lot of good thoughts, and then which ones that we make a decision to go with, that's what we go with, and then we try to make it work for us.
You ever cross paths with Mike McCoy?
Yes.
Yeah. Do you have any insight?
I cross paths with working with him or a friend?
Yeah, just
yeah. I mean, I know Mike.
Any insight this week? The guy taking
I don't have
the first week is it?
I really don't. It's always a tough situation when these things go on, and like I said, I have a friendship with Mike. We've known each other for a long period of time. I think when you're in this league long enough, you get to know a lot of people. But I got a ton of respect for Mike, and that's it.
Just looking at the run game again, it seems like you guys have been able to generate a decent amount of push sometimes, but maybe up to the second level, third level hasn't necessarily been there. Just how do you get blockers up further down the field so you can spring those runs a little bit further?
Yeah, I just think that those are some of the things that we're working on. You know what I'm saying, and trying to get some drills that you can do individually, and so we can get a better feel for that. As we work through it. So. We worked a little bit on it, obviously, put some emphasis on it. We detailed it up, and, you can say all you want, you can work on it. I've been in this league, you just have to get out there and be able to do it when it counts. That's what people are looking at, but, we're working hard to try to get everything, done with the details and fundamentals so we can be in a better position.
Yeah, well, last one for me, just Jared asked the same question I asked you about Will, just how have you seen him progress here?
Yeah, I mean, again, when you're a young player, and you're playing, I think every day is a special day, especially when you're young. I think it's the greatest growth that you can have. Myself, I'm saying this personally from working with players, is that when you come in here, it's much different than college. Every day, it's kind of like a new day, and you have to embrace it and say, okay, what can I do now to get better? Never think that you have it down. I think once you feel like, oh, I've got this down, I think that's where trouble comes up. So I think that, as long as you can take that, and he's been embracing that each day, trying to do a little bit different things to see if he can do things better. Working together, like I've always said, it's an important thing, having that relationship. Hey, how does this feel? What do you feel about this? What are you thinking here? Just trying to get all those questions answered so that I can put myself in a better position to help him play better.
Doug, zooming all the way out, what's something you feel like you know about your offense now that you couldn't have known week one?
I don't know if I look at things in that kind of perspective, as far as like this whole thought process of everything. Because I try to, the one thing I try to do is stay with the process, stay with what we're doing, and work on it every single day. Things change of what you may be doing each week. We've seen that in the league. And then obviously what you're doing, it changes. It's going to go, these defenses that you're seeing, there's different players, different schemes, different things that you have to be aware of. So, I try to go at it every day as like, okay, how can I get us better for what we need to do today? And then, how's this going to be able to affect us how we play Sunday, making sure that we're preparing our way, working through the process and getting ourselves ready to play.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. I appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
Good to see you.
All right. Good to see you.